Two-time.
This boy's about to go down on me. You boys ready to get fucked again?
You're looking at the 2025 champ.
Let's not lose. The boy's a lot more exposed than Andrew's scrotum.
Just hoping to do good enough to not be last. Let's go.
I'm ready to get hurt again. Hopefully it's only up from here.
Here we go again.
Go.
Alrighty. It's about that time, Best in Ever League. This is your 2025-2026 draft recap from yours truly, the expert drafters.
Yes.
Yep, it's myself
Yes.
and Mr. Cam Ferguson. Cam Ferguson, how's it going?
It's going good, dude. I thought I would get a lot more work done at my actual job once the draft was over, but not the case. Now I can't wait for the league to start.
I stared at my team for, like, I want to say a good, 10 minutes per day just looking at it. And
Oh, yeah.
not because that I believe it's the best or that it's the worst. It's just I like looking at it.
Well, I cycle back and forth. Pretty much half the day I think my team is amazing, then the other half I think that I need to trade everybody. So it's good.
Well, through all the mock drafts we did over the summer, now
Yeah.
that we see the final result, you want to do a little deep dive?
Absolutely.
All right. So we'll kind of go through the first two rounds, and then we'll go through our sleepers who we think had decent drafts, who we think propelled and got better via the draft. What team is looking a little shaky, and then our preseason favorite to win. So
Sweet deal.
going off the bat, Cam, the first three picks were all running backs in Genty, Derrick Henry, and Chase Brown. I myself took Genty, Gregor took Derrick Henry, and Connor took Chase Brown. No big surprise there, I assume, in your way.
Oh fuck, my camera's all fucked. No access to my camera. What the fuck? There it is.
There you are.
All offseason I thought Connor would go. I just thought Drake London. I was pretty high on him, so I thought maybe he would go there. But he, to his own credit, he stuck to his guns and went running back. And I think Chase Brown's pretty damn good, so I think that's a good pick.
Yeah, the first two picks were pretty standard. No surprises there. Connor going running back, we have seen in the past he goes running back. The one year he didn't go running back was, I think, CeeDee Lamb, and that was for Thomas's right before Thomas's wedding, which maybe he was thrown off a bit by just the venue itself. But then I think the most shocking pick that me and you both think happened after Connor's pick with Jacob selecting Justin Fields. This was absolutely crazy.
That's when the draft started. And I honestly thought maybe he would do that just because I feel like with the running backs available, and I figured he would, kind of like he did last year, he'd go like zero running back. And that's what he did. So I thought he'd go wild card and just go whoever he thought was best. And if Justin Fields is good, he's going to be super deep at quarterback. But we'll see. There were a lot of good players available still. So I was surprised he went there.
Yeah, Jacob selecting Justin Fields there was what was my shock of the draft. And him doing that definitely propels him to having the deepest quarterback room out there. Saying that, Jacob may have made the right decision because the running backs available, which he probably would have wanted, a position in need of his via keepers. The six picks after that were not running backs. So we'll see how that panned out for Jacob later. Bobby and Thomas are then the pick after him. And Bobby took Drake London, best player available. I don't see anything wrong with that pick. And then Thomas right here, keeping a quarterback and three running backs, decides to select the best tight end available, which I did not expect.
I didn't expect it either, but I think he probably, one, just thought he was the best player, but like at least he has a positional advantage at tight end almost every week. So, and obviously not having a third and fourth round pick totally fucked him. And so his receivers are going to be tough. He's going to have to get lucky on some, but he'll always have McBride to kind of lean on. So if he has a big year, then that's going to make up for a lot of what Thomas kind of couldn't fill with the draft.
I agree with that. And with that, then there was two tight ends selected in the first round, the first time ever that has happened. I think ever. So that's
Yeah,
interesting. After Thomas picks Trey McBride, Oscar needing a quarterback goes Caleb Williams here. Wasn't really shocked about that. Hopefully, Caleb Williams puts Oscar above the edge of, with that pick. Then you have the next two picks and going with tight end George Kittle and wide receiver T. Higgins. What was your process going through these two picks and the players available?
I wanted to get either McBride or Kittle with one of those. Um, my dream scenario was getting Drake London, but that was never going to happen. Um, and T. Higgins, I just thought was the next kind of best player available. It's like it. I feel very uneasy about having two Bengals receivers that I'm going to rely on. But I looked at all the other guys and I'm like, T. Higgins, if he's healthy, he's going to probably score more touchdowns than these guys. And the Bengals defense is terrible, so they're going to need to throw it. So hopefully that all works out. Um, yeah. And with I knew I had two picks in the next three picks, so I was going to compensate with running back there probably.
Yeah, I've always wondered what would it be like if you had like four picks within the first 14 picks. That
It's
must be
addicting.
an insane feeling.
It's
I
intoxicating, let
guess
me tell you.
it's 12.
The first
It's
12
12, right?
picks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It makes you just want more picks. Turn me into a junkie.
apparently. So then Zach here goes wide receiver picking Lyle McConkey. I think that was the best wide receiver available. He could have gone JSN here, but I think he chose Justin Herbert's kind of go-to guy from last year. Nothing wrong with that pick. I think he could have gone either way there. And then you had, again, like we talked about, the two picks after that, and you go both running back here.
I
And
love, yeah.
that was probably a very smart move to get your running backs right here because they definitely fell off after your pick, I want to say.
I loved getting Hampton, even though I don't know if he's going to be. I could easily see, like, the first half of the season, he's average, which would suck, but I could easily see that because they're like, oh, here's Najee Harris, he's Mr. Dependable. He gets 12 carries a game, and so do you, Hampton. It's gonna and he'll vulture touchdowns, and it's gonna suck. But getting him in the second round, I think, is gonna be huge. Ken Walker, if he's healthy, I think is he could be really good. Um, but you never know. It's just, but I knew I needed running backs because it was gonna drop off big time, so I knew I needed to snag a couple.
But that's what's so good about fantasy is you never
Yeah.
know. But there's a couple things you can be certain of. But speaking of Mr. Dependable, Zach then goes with his dependable running back last year and Juba Hubbard with the pick after yours. And
Mm,
that was a pretty safe running back pick. I mean, we saw what he did last year. He got the extension with the Panthers. I don't see anything wrong with that pick. After that pick, it goes wide receiver for Thomas, and then is that Oscar's pick at
yeah.
picking JSN? Yeah. So two receivers coming after three running backs. What do you think of Thomas getting Scary Terry and Oscar having JSN fall to him?
I actually really like what Thomas did. Um, I think he probably regrets picking Jacoby Myers at fifth in hindsight, but I'm glad he went receiver because his receivers would have been shit if he would have waited. Like going McBride first, I think you have to go receiver then. And kind of just he kind of is playing the Michael game now of get as many quarterbacks as you can on your team and hope one of them isn't mediocre. And he's because Herbert's going to be all right. He might not be as good as he was just on the way the Chargers are kind of running their offense, but any given week, hopefully Sam Darnold plays all right. He picked up Joe Flacco, so that's the game he has to play. But I think picking up Terry McLaurin was a good idea.
Not a bad wide receiver. Whether or not he will have touchdown regression, because I know he did score a crap ton of TDs
Yeah,
last year. He's still a solid wide receiver.
yeah.
So Thomas picks him up there, and then another sort of shocker for me. I did not have Trayvon Henderson getting this picked early, but Bobby needed a running back, and he had the most upside, and he has youth to him. New England has a revamped team. I kind of like this pick for Bobby.
Yeah, I always kind of thought cliche Bobby would pick Ohio State players, and then I'm always wrong. But then I think this was the one he allowed himself to get. Him and Egbuka. But yeah, Henderson's good. It's just a matter of how many touchdowns are the Patriots even going to score. It's like I feel that way with Drake May. It's like I hope their offense is good. I don't think their team's going to be very good.
Yeah, Patriots are kind of the biggest like question mark, and especially with a quarterback that showed a lot of upside. Getting a really fancy schmancy running back in the draft. I mean, and a new coach. I mean, who knows what the Patriots could be? They could be a fringe playoff team winning 10 games, or they could be themselves and only win like games in which they'd be
Yeah.
passing a lot more than they'd be running.
Yeah.
But I think it's worth the risk there at that pick. Uh, then after that pick, five receivers go right off the board. Jacob, Connor, Gregor, and myself all take wide receivers after Bobby picks a running back there. Now, Jacob, so we kind of alluded to Jacob taking Justin Fields earlier. He continued to go his zero RB strategy and pick probably best player available in his eyes, and that was Marvin Harrison, and he could be really good. I just as if him and Kyler can figure it out, if Kyler can get him the ball, I can see high upside with Harrison. It's kind of high risk, high upside value there, and I don't see a problem with it because Jacob's known to not get running backs until like the later rounds.
If Marvin Harrison is unlocked and he becomes like a top 10, top 5 receiver, we're fucked. That's going to be so brutal to play against
Oh,
Harrison, Jefferson, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. And his quarterbacks, that's just going to give him such a high floor that that's just going to be stupid. And then you're going to play Jacob when David Montgomery has 20 and Tony Pollard has 20 because it's just fucking stupid and it all works out. But hopefully Marvin Harrison's mediocre again because Kyler Murray's mediocre. But that's just for our sakes.
with another surprising pick, not because of where the player got selected, but basically just the player picking the player. I was kind of shocked that Potter picked Mike Evans here. Not known for picking old players, I guess. He secures a guy that's been reliable for years now and is going to break another record this year, probably in an offense that shocked us last year. What do you think about Connor getting Mike Evans?
I kind of thought he would pick Mike Evans just because he's got Malik Neighbors, who's kind of he's going to be maybe up and down as far as like he might score 30, but he might have a dud just because his team sucks and his quarterback sucks. Mike Evans is right down the middle, so
Yeah.
I mean most weeks he'll at least get you like 9. He's rarely going to get you 0.
Nine,
Um,
yeah, nine on a low point, maybe a consistent
yeah,
14, I want to say.
yeah, and he's going to
Coming,
be yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
no, yeah, coming from someone who had Mike Evans on his team, it's just a consistent 14 with a couple boomer bust weeks
Well,
and maybe a couple ankle sprains.
yeah, that part's going to suck. He's going to be questionable the whole season, but you know he plays most of the time.
And then after that pick, a player that we both kind of thought would fall in the draft in Garrett Wilson. Gregor gets him. He is best available there. I want to say he has the highest upside, got that extension, new quarterback. Who knows if Justin Fields will be able to get him the ball? I know he got DJ Moore the ball when he was in Chicago. Do you think Garrett Wilson can get that untapped potential that we think he'll get?
I think Garrett Wilson is Terry McLaurin. It's like they're the same
They,
guy, the same
they're the
receiver.
same person.
They're they're consistent. They're really good, but are they gonna have a year where they get enough volume and score enough touchdowns to be like a top 5 guy? It's like, or is he always just gonna be kind of Terry McLaurin? He's always gonna be Garrett Wilson, where he's always gonna have 1,000 yards, a few touchdowns, and you're gonna be like, why the fuck isn't he better? Um, but Justin Fields reunited with the Ohio State wide receiver, so that could be pretty good. I feel like it's a pretty safe pick, even if he doesn't explode. It's a pretty good pick.
I'm not gonna lie. I was hoping that he would fall to me surprisingly because I know his ADP in sleeper was, I want to say, like third best available, and there was six or no, sorry, eight receivers picked above him. So yeah, Garrett Wilson falls to Gregor there, which means that I was there needing a wide receiver, and I went with Devontae Adams here. I see his upside with Stafford if Stafford can stay on the field, and there's talk that the Devontae Adams Puka duo is going to explode this year. I was just too tasty to pass up for me, so I went with Adams there.
I like Adams there for you. I would have also respected if you took Brees Hall just to see if you could form some sort of insane trio of running backs. But I think Adams was probably the safest right pick for you there. So especially not having your next two picks. So I thought that was a good pick.
And it's funny you mentioned that because right after that pick, I immediately was speaking with Gregor on
I know.
acquiring one of his two thirds.
Mhm.
The offer was I get either the worst of the two thirds for a second rounder next year, and Gregor declined it there. And I think Gregor ended up having a good draft because he kept that pick. His team looks pretty strong, and yeah, it ended up working out for him. Going down the list between the third and the fourth round, who are your favorite picks out of those two that you see could help benefit some teams here in the next season?
I think Brees Hall is the most interesting pick in the third round. One, because he fell so far, and that he's a guy who everybody was so interested in and so high on the last 2 years, and he didn't get hurt last year, like nothing like catastrophic. And the Jets are just supposed to be shitty, and it's a new coaching staff and whatever. So like if Brees Hall is really good, then Gregor's gonna have an insane trio of running back. He might have like the top three running backs, which is nuts. Um, I think James Conner stands out as like kind of the Mike Evans of the running backs, and Conner got both of them. He's
Yeah,
just
which is kind of going back to my recent point that was
mm,
just kind of shocking that Connor took both those
he's
guys.
changed his ways. I mean, you look, everybody's pretty old on his team now. Which if you have Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts, it doesn't matter. You
Yeah.
will find yourself toward the top of the leaderboards no matter what. Um, but I really
Going
like.
off,
What was
oh,
that?
go ahead. I was just gonna say, going off of what you just said there, I mean, you already look at the week one projections, I assume, because they're constantly changing. But one thing that stood forward is as soon as Connor gets a kicker on his roster, he's going to be projected, I think, a lot of ahead of all of us, at least for week one. I know projections don't mean nothing, but with this older roster, besides maybe you, who's maybe only a couple points behind him, he is projected to outscore a lot of people week one. And maybe it's
Yeah.
because he went with that old roster.
Well, yeah. Well, it's. I mean, just started his quarterbacks, and he's always going to be start at 40 points, like as far as a projection goes. And most in actuality, they're going to score 40. It's like, and so if and he has so many players who can have huge weeks. It's like, so that's the damn of it all is Kyron Williams. It's like, say whatever you want. It's like he's still going to go out there and get all the touches if he's healthy. So is he going to score 3 touchdowns this week? So he'll have 40, and then Connor will score 200 points, and then we're all just like,
And then
well,
he'll win the whole week.
yeah. I mean, listen, it's you get paid out for regular season success too. It's like Connor's a good success story for that.
Anyway, going back to the draft, later in the third round, starting with your pick, and then your second third round pick, you went with two rookies here. You had
Yeah.
the capital to do so. Are you happy getting those two rookies on your roster?
Ted McMillan, yes, I was very happy that he fell to me because he's my fourth receiver. If he was my like second receiver, I'd feel less good about it, but I don't need him to be good right away. Um, it's like I just need him to be good in later in the season. And the same thing with RJ Harvey. He's like my third running back. As long as Walker and Hampton are healthy and good, then I can let all the bullshit happen with Denver because Harvey and Hampton are kind of in the same spot where it's like, wow, these rookies were drafted high, and then it's like, yeah, but look at this old piece of shit who he signed on a 1-year deal to score all the touchdowns. I'm like, great,
Yeah,
but
don't I know it? That's what the Denver Broncos do. You know,
yeah,
they draft a second round running back out of North Carolina. I think his name was like Javante Williams or something, and
yeah,
then they decided to go with this oldie from the Chargers who just came off a couple of injuries and fumbles a bunch. Who's that guy? Oh yeah, his
yeah,
name is Melvin freaking Gordon, who's trash. So hopefully Sean Payton knows how to utilize the running backs for your sake.
I hope so.
And yeah, yeah. Although when you play me, I hope they do terrible.
Yeah,
And then let's get to Michael's first pick of the whole draft. So after let's see, 10, 20, 29 picks, Michael had picked 30. And of course, he had 3 straight picks after you picked RJ Harvey, and I know he wanted RJ Harvey. He goes running back, tight end, wide receiver there. That's pretty much the best he could do. And I think with his keepers, he still has a solid team, even though he missed the first 29 picks.
yeah, I agree. If Achan's healthy, then he'll be fine. Tyreek Hill is weird this year. It's like every now and then you're like, well, he's still Tyreek Hill, and then you're like, well, he's
Yes.
kind of Antonio Brown. And you're like, I don't know what's gonna happen this year. But and the Dolphins look terrible. But if, who knows? They might score some points. But
Yeah.
I I was wondering if Michael would just say fuck it and draft a couple of quarterbacks with these picks, because he also has the last pick in the fourth round. So I thought maybe he'd go Stroud and McCarthy just to be like, I'm gonna take all the quarterbacks and you all can suck it. But he didn't. Um, and yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as I think Sutton's a safe receiver. Laporta's kind of a safe tight end. Um, but yeah, we'll see how Michael goes. He has so many picks in the next couple of rounds that it's honestly not a bad spot to be in.
Mm. And speaking of the next 3 picks, tight ends fell or like started to really, really go in the fourth round with Laporta, Kelsey, and Hawkinson being taken almost back, not really back to back to back, but a couple of receivers in between them. That's typically the normal time we see tight ends start to be taken. If not in the third round, it's definitely the fourth and fifth round. One pick I do like here was Jacob's pick in Tony Pollard. With Spears being hurt and just, the Titans wanting to rebrand themselves, they got Cam Ward as the 1-1. Titans really, really need something to go right for them. And now that Tony Pollard has that backfoot to himself, I think that is a great fourth round pick for Jacob, considering he has 0 running backs. All right, yeah, I guess he picked Montgomery before that, but basically he's going to be starting Tony Pollard every week, and that's actually not a bad running back to start in the fourth round, if you ask me.
No, I think the draft fell exactly in his favor as far as how he was wanting to pick. Tony Pollard fell right in his lap as the ideal pick for him. And so I think he took advantage of it and worked out perfectly.
What's going to kill me is that at my pick, I was struggling between the very 3 guys behind me, which is Hawkinson, Pollard, and Jameson Williams. But then just I saw Xavier Worthy, and I knew that Rasheed Rice was going to be out for quite a bit. And whether or not I could capitalize on those games that he was going to be out, I felt like Worthy was the pick to go with there, considering I do need wide receivers. But it's funny, the 3 players that I also was thinking about taking at my pick fell immediately behind me. So I do like those picks for those players. And then Gregor takes Jerry Judy. Michael goes Roma Dunze. Having him last year, I hope he does better than last year for you, Michael, because man, he was just bad. They just did not throw him the ball, and then when they did, he was on my bench, so it didn't work out well. That kind of really goes through our recap within the first 4 rounds. Cam, is there anything you wanted to add before we get into the later round picks and us discussing who we think benefited from the later round picks?
No, no, let's go through.
So, Cam, do you have any going through rounds 5 through 12? Do you have anybody that you really, really like that think can explode and that really helped the team get better by selecting in the later rounds?
So I have the ninth and 10th pick in the fifth round. I really wanted Calvin Ridley and Emeka Egbuka there. Connor picked Ridley, and I think he's going to be solid. I was really hoping he would be like my wide receiver 5 who could emerge as like a top 10 guy, kind of like Terry McLaurin last year. Um, but he picked him, and I think that's going to be a great pick for him. It's like his third wide receiver, maybe fourth even, because he picked Jameson Williams. Um, and Igbuka getting picked the following round, um, in round 6. I just think he's a stud. I don't know when he'll be good, but I think he will be good. So it's just a matter of Bobby not having to play him until he's really good, and because Godwin's hurt, Mike Evans is old, McMillan is hurt for them, and so Igbuka's just going to be around. And as long as he's healthy, he's going to be a stud. So I think those 2 picks for sure. And then the other one, really, that I have no fucking clue about, is Travis Hunter. Like, I feel like Travis Hunter on Michael's team is good. Travis Hunter, if I drafted him, would break his leg. Like,
Yes.
it just never. I never felt good about drafting Travis Hunter, but he's a stud. I just could never get around to it because I just don't know what he's gonna do and what he's gonna be like in the pros. So, um,
And especially now because the news came out today, the official week 1 depth chart, he is starting wide receiver and a backup corner.
but I'm
So, of course, that would go into Michael's favor because why wouldn't it? It's fantasy football.
it,
So
yeah,
he might be excellent for the Jaguars, and you know what? It'd be okay if Trevor Lawrence threw him a couple touchdowns every now and then. I know I will be rooting for that. One pick I wanted to get your thoughts on that I noticed, at least in the latter part of like what is that? I want to say the 8th round. Let's see, 12, 9. No, 12, 11, 10. Yeah, in the 8th round, you took Jordan Mason, and that guy was flying up boards, I think, day of when we did our draft, at least that I saw. With Aaron Jones being that primary back, at least starting, do you think Jordan Mason can ellipse or go past Aaron Jones, or do you think it's going to be more of a committee situation early and then you get the upside considering that is your running back like 4, 5 at that point?
mm. Well, I'm on record saying that Jordan Mason is a pussy, unfortunately, because I bet on him last year in some game where he needed to get like 5 more yards or something, and he just stayed off the field because even though he was in full pads, I think that's more of a Kyle Shanahan thing, because he's an asshole. Uh,
Yes,
but
preach.
I think Jordan Mason is he could be kind of like a Chase Brown, where most of the season, um, there's going to be the lead running back in front of him just taking production, and you're going to be like, why the fuck aren't they giving this guy the ball more? Um, but if an injury happens, then he's going to get all the work that he can handle. So I think it's a pretty low risk pick that could really pay off. Because if he sucks or gets hurt or whatever, I'll just drop him. Because he's my running back 4, so it's pretty minimal risk there. But I think the Vikings offense should be good, and if they end up sucking, then kind of whatever.
And then pick for that, I believe this is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th round. Is that so? This guy's it's not Kelvin Johnson, it's something else Johnson from the Pittsburgh running back. We had him getting mocked around the 4th and 5th round. This will be Bobby's, I think, RB2, maybe RB3 early on. Now that he has Nick Chubb to replace Joe Mixon, I think that could be a sleeper pick for Bobby as well. Um, I just think he has high upside. I don't think Jalen Warren is the guy that the Steelers want him to be. He's more like a really old Austin Eckler, where he showed signs of being really, really good, but he's still like not the fastest either. He'll be there for like I want to say the passing downs, but I think Johnson will ellipse him later in the season. Uh, yeah, going through the rest of the draft.
Well, hold on.
Go ahead.
Speaking of Caleb Johnson, Bobby is an asshole. Bobby picked him on accident because he meant to pick Jalen Warren. And then it comes my pick in the 8th round. I'm like, hey, Bobby, how about I'll pick Jalen Warren for you? You trade me Caleb Johnson. You know what he says? He says Jalen Warren and a pick. I'm like, fuck you. I was going to give you the player that you wanted. You didn't even want this guy. That was mid-draft. That's so funny. But I think Caleb Johnson's going to be good, but it's just the Steelers and Arthur Smith offense weirdness. But what I had to mention that because that was one of the funniest parts of the draft.
Yeah, and then with the player pool being so limited, I feel like this has been the biggest limited player pool that we've had because we've had 4 keepers from 10 teams. There's 40 players that we cannot draft from. So this was the deepest by far. And if you look at the later rounds of this draft, we are picking RB our running backs that are fourth on the depth chart. We are picking, you know, every starting quarterback there is. I think the only one that wasn't taken was Daniel Jones and Joe Flacco, and those two were picked up right away. Was a different draft this year, and I wonder if that's going to benefit the teams picking those late round running backs who get a chance later in the season, or if it just is a wasted pick from the end of the year. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. By that, I'm looking at yourself taking Samson. I'm looking at myself taking Scatabo and Bill from the Commanders. You could see the same thing with shoot, where'd he go? What team? Oh, Junkins. Yeah, I mean, he was taken a little bit earlier, but Junkins, if he gets his crap solved and he gets the number one job in the Browns, the sky's the limit for him as well. So it'll be interesting to see how this kind of plays out.
Yeah, Zach drafted little Ray Rice Jr. We'll see if he actually makes it to a football field. He's supposed to start practicing like today, but yeah, who
Pretty good to
knows?
go for week one.
Maybe, probably not. But that's why I picked up Dylan Sampson because
Mhm.
he's at least he hasn't beaten any women yet, so he'll be wearing pads on Sunday. So, uh, but yeah, this latter part of the draft, like the last 4 rounds, was slim pickings. But honestly, I think a lot of value to be had. Like even Bobby getting Nick Chubb was like they probably didn't feel good, but he's probably gonna start week 1 for Bobby. Like, because
He most certainly will, yeah.
who else will he pick or play? I think Tucker Kraft is really good. It's like I don't why draft Mark Andrews and Tucker Kraft if you're Jacob. You're probably gonna drop one of
Well,
them anyway.
yeah. So then this is the point we have to shout out Oscar for taking his tight ends
Yeah.
every year. Oscar did it. And you know what? All those tight ends could be excellent. Kyle Pitts hasn't been excellent, but he's always due. We say this every year. But then he picked up rookie Cole Loveland, and then he has Travis Kelce. But of course, Oscar, after mistakenly picking 3 tight ends last year, he goes through and picks 3 this
He's
year. It wouldn't be a best night ever league draft if Oscar did not take 3 tight ends.
there will be a week that he starts both Travis Kelce and Kyle Pitts. And it's gonna be awesome. And he's probably gonna win. Because Saquon Barkley's gonna have 50 points that week. And I just God bless Oscar. He's the man.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how good of a stack is Kyle Pitts and Michael Penix going to be in 2025?
Probably an 8.
Probably an 8.
It's gonna
Oh
be it's
wow,
gonna be sick. Yes,
yeah, it's
he's
pretty
gonna
good.
be unlocked for sure. If this is Kyle Pitts' year.
Of course. And then everyone picked their kickers and defenses, and that's pretty much us recapping the draft. Really, Cam, who do you think drafted really, really well besides yourself for having all those picks? Who do you think
Yeah.
made their team really good on draft day?
I feel like to me Gregor's draft stood out. With his team all put together, it's like the fact that Derrick Henry falling because he had the second pick that helps a lot. But like if you had to pick like a soft point in his team, it's his receivers. But his receivers are pretty solid. Like there's nobody on there that you think truly sucks. It's like Jalen Waddle's like, oh boy, if you had him last year, you don't feel good about it. But he should be all right. It's like, and Travis Etienne, it's like, yeah, he's this fourth running back, so it's like if he's not good, he'll just drop him.
Right.
And kind of the same thing with Jennings and Debo. It's like kind of it's maybe they're good. It's all high upside players. So, and his running backs are going to be so damn good. He's got Brock Bowers, and his quarterbacks are solid. So, I thought Gregor did well. Um, I thought I look at Connor's team and I just don't see any holes. Like especially getting David Njoku, which I just felt like it was destiny for Thomas to have him, since he helped save his season. But maybe that's why Connor made sure that he got him. But it's the fact that Njoku's going to have Joe Flacco throwing to him for a while is going to be huge. So I thought Connor drafted well, just drafting solid players to go with his keepers, who are like some of the best. And then as far as the picks that were made with the picks they had, I liked your draft. I Genti was obvious, but you still get points for drafting him and not screwing that up. I thought Adams was a good pick because I felt like if you didn't go receiver there, you'd be hurting. I thought Tyler Warren was a bit of a reach, but I also think that he would have been picked before you had another pick. So as far as getting your guy, I feel like that was solid, and we'll see if I think he's good. We'll see if he scores a lot of fantasy points. If anything, there, I mean, I don't, I don't know if you would have gone Calvin Ridley as like a safer pick, I probably would have given you more points there. But what I really liked you doing was just drafting running backs who might end up being good later on, like Scadaboo, Eckler, and Bill. I think those are good picks, and it's just kind of like, well, if they suck, then you'll drop them. It's like, but people who I think could pop off and actually play for you. So I thought there were some solid picks to be made. Good drafts all around, truth be told.
So I will sit here and defend my Warren pick, not because I think he's going to be kind of one, but judging by the pick. So I have 5.1. After that pick, I didn't have a pick until 8.1. So I was missing 6 and 7, and looking at the tight ends that would have been available if I didn't. So I mean, let's say I do take that trade still with Jacob, and I take a Calvin Ridley or a Aaron Jones, let's say, then the tight ends available to me would have been Tucker Kraft, who's okay, Kyle Pitts, Cole Loveland. Uh, I just really wanted take a risk pick. You know how last year you
Oh, yeah.
picked Jane Daniels in the first round? This was my fun pick in the fifth round.
Yeah. Well, and see, I
Yeah.
even, I even forgot because I forgot you traded for Jacob's pick, but you drafted Ricky Pearsall, and I think
Hmm.
that could be huge.
Hmm.
Oh boy. Oh.
And we are back.
What were we
Sorry
talking
for the
about?
hiccup there. You briefly just talked about liking my draft. Two
Hmm.
drafts that I liked. I did also like Connor's draft, taking reliable options there. But one draft I wanted to highlight, we kind of alluded it to, was Jacob and Michael. With the options and picks that they had with their current keepers, I think they knocked it out of the park. We kind of talked earlier about Jacob taking Justin Fields. He now has a pretty stacked quarterback lineup, which is always good to have in a league that prioritizes and is really quarterback heavy. And on top of that, taking JJ McCarthy later, just making sure that he even has a guy that is a boomer bust in his rookie season. And I know I see Jacob having a pretty solid team coming in next year, and then moving over to Michael, having CJ Stroud fall to you in the third round, I think is just insane. Yeah, I think we had Thomas taking a quarterback early, which kind of made Stroud kind of go in those early rounds, but because he fell all the way to Michael, um, just having those two quarterbacks of Jordan Love, CJ Stroud, having his Dolphins speedsters, and then adding in a top five tight end with Cortland Sutton there, who just got an extension. I think Michael did it again. I think he somehow made his team be very, very viable from fantasy season without a pick in the first 29.
Yeah, I think so too. I think he's betting a lot on Tyreek Hill though, which if he hits, then Michael will have done it again. But if he doesn't, then I think it's going to be tough sledding, and he's going to be trying to get a receiver. And I just don't have any faith in Cooper Kupp being like a top 10 guy. If he's a top 20 guy, that'd be a huge win for him. But that I don't see him being that good. I don't see the Seahawks being that good to where JSN and Cooper Kupp are both top 20 guys. I think they're going to want to run the ball a lot. But
Yeah.
uh, I don't fucking know. Michael's team is always competitive. I'm surprised he didn't draft as many quarterbacks as he early with his earlier picks, but getting Tua and Stroud isn't too bad when you've already got Jordan Love, so pretty good overall.
And one team I do want to shout out because I think we haven't talked about them enough is Zach's team.
Mm-hmm.
So with Zach taking McConkey and Chuba Hubbard early, he went DeAndre Swift in the third round. So I had him last year, and he was very, and again, new offensive regime could be completely different, but he kind of owns that backfield in the early downs. And now, whether or not he owns the red zone carries is beyond me. But DeAndre Swift could be a player that has a 70 plus snap share with this new Ben Johnson offense that could be really, really, really good for him. It's a bummer that he went so early this year and he's so highly touted because that's what I thought it would be last year. So, Zach, I'm happy for you. And then he kind of goes with the safer options of Zay Flowers, Evan Ingram on a new team. And then he picked, which is crazy, Devonta Smith fell all the way to the eighth round, which, his ADP was easily in the fourth round in our league. So he's good for a couple of good games there. So yeah, anyway, shout out Zach. 'Cause I just realized we haven't really talked about his team yet.
Well, I felt like so his keepers are really good, and I felt like all his picks, as I look at them, are kind of the safe guys. Lad McConkey being kind of the safest option as far as like the enough volume and the role in his offense. DeAndre Swift is going to get the ball probably more than anybody on the Bears. Um, Zay Flowers, I think, is fairly safe, but there's nobody that I look that I think is like that guy might be a top 5 guy. Like, and I look at my team and I think these people might be dead tomorrow. They might be terrible and get 0 every week. But I also think they might be amazing. But like Zay Flowers is one I was never super high on. But he's his wide receiver 3, so I think that's great. Where most weeks Zay Flowers is going to get 7 to 8 points, but then one week he's going to have 2 touchdowns on 100 yards. You're going to be like, wow, Zay Flowers is fucking great. Even though I think he's really good, he doesn't score a lot of fantasy points every week. But Evan Ingram will be interesting for him if he's healthy and if he's has a ton of volume, then he's going to be fucking good. And I think Judkins probably, I don't even know if he'll play this year. Like he's supposed to, but it's just, I mean, a rookie who hasn't even signed his contract yet is like, that's fucked. I don't know what's going to happen. Smith and Godwin are hurt, and so it's Godwin for sure won't be playing, but they're both really fucking good. So if they're healthy for like the end of the season, then I think Zach's going to have a huge advantage just having really strong depth on his team as a whole.
Well, that kind of wraps up the draft. Who is a team that you think is a sleeper that has a chance to win the trophy in the best night ever league?
Well, that's one of the things is there aren't a lot of bad teams. Like everybody has strengths, and shit happens in a fantasy league where people get hurt and whatever. But I think Gregor's team looks primed to score a shitload of points. And if everybody stays healthy, like with the running backs he has, with Bijan, Derrick Henry, if Brees Hall is Brees Hall again, then they're going to be fucking good. Because his quarterbacks, with running backs like that, they don't need to score a ton of points. If his quarterbacks are average, like they will be good. They'll be plenty good. And if one of his receivers ascends, like if Garrett Wilson takes another step, and if he's like a top 10 receiver instead of top 20, that he's gonna be fucking good, and we're gonna need to watch out probably.
Mhm. So when Michael put out that poll before the draft, I was the only one to select Gregor, just on keepers alone and draft position to win it all. And he is also on my sleeper list as an early favorite. Going along with those favorites, I think your team, I think Connor's team are leading the way, as in the favorites, the ones who are probably going to be even money or barely plus money to win it all.
Mm.
It'll be interesting to see where everything moves forward. What team do you think looks a little worse for wear entering? And I will not get offended.
The the team, I think, when I look at their roster, I think Thomas looks like he will have the hardest time because I think he has the largest glaring hole in his roster. You look at his receivers, and clearly it's the worst receiving group in the league. He has one of the best tight ends and one of the best running back like rooms, if you want to call it that. But like his receivers are bad, and Terry McLaurin's good. It's like and they might be so like steadily average that it keeps his team afloat, and he just needs everyone else to contribute. But that's going to be a problem, and because I think his quarterbacks are going to be all right. It's just playing the right one in any given week. Um, but I look at Thomas's team and think that it's worrisome, where he's in trouble. Your team, I see as your running backs. If it's Christian McCaffrey, if Christian McCaffrey is healthy and is Christian McCaffrey, you'll be fine. He will make up for whatever issues you have that week if he's healthy. If he's hurt, then at least you have some guys you can play. Like Eckler should be a serviceable guy, but he's going to be mediocre. Like Genty, if he should be good. It's like as if he should at least be a top 10 guy for the most part. And your receivers, Nico Collins, I think very highly of him. I think Devontae Adams is good, and so similar, but I think for the most part, Thomas was the guy I had to highlight, unfortunately for him.
I had him on there, and then yeah, I'm not going to mention the other person because I was wrong about their team last year. But yeah,
You got to make a pick. It's what
yeah,
we do in the beginning of the season. You got to make a
no,
pick.
I'll go Thomas too, only because I was shocked. Just literally just pure shock factor. He did not go quarterback with his first two picks.
Yeah, but
And
I thought that was smart because if he would have drafted Caleb Williams in the first round, let's say, then we'd be sitting here saying Caleb Williams isn't that good. Like now he's got Caleb Williams and Justin Herbert and Terry McLaurin, and now his tight end is fucking
Mark Andrews probably.
maybe, and then we'd be like, yeah, that guy looking rough. Whereas now you can at least say it's like he has one of the best tight ends. He will always have that advantage, almost always. So I think in
So
that it
I,
was smart.
I don't mind the ADP pick and the value that Trey McBride brings. It's just and not saying that my quarterbacks are better than Thomas's because I don't think they are, but I just think if you have a spot where you're unsure of where your quarterback's going to fall. I mean, also into Thomas's credit, I mean, after his Jacoby Myers pick, there was four quarterbacks taken, like to become his next pick in the sixth round. So maybe he didn't know that they were just going to fall like diamonds. But yeah, I'll go with Thomas with you, and then maybe Oscar too. And I only say that not for his three tight ends, but basically he now his keeper is Michael Penix, and that is a huge wild card keeper. I want to say for our league, and Michael Penix could be fantastic, but at the same time, he also is Michael Penix, and we haven't seen a full season of him yet. So. With that in mind, I think Oscar shaped his roster pretty decently, but I do think that he has some limitations with worrisome and projections with how Penix is going to play for him because he may not even play Penix. He may just play Caleb Williams in that spot. Or I guess Caleb Williams would be a second quarterback, so he's playing those two guys, and then maybe he plays Geno Smith over him. I guess we'll find out.
Yeah, Oscar's team, I think, if everyone's healthy, it's looking all right. But boy, if Saquon Barkley gets hurt, his team is it's gonna turn quick. Because without Saquon Barkley, he's relying on old ass Travis Kelce, who doesn't give a fuck anymore, and Pacheco, who's got one leg, and Jordan Addison, who can't stop driving 100 miles an hour, Chris Olave, who's on the Saints. He's going to need Kyle Pitts and Michael Penix to step it up. But it's the taco factor.
It is the taco factor.
Bring Taco in the league, he's going to score some points.
Well, I mean, Cam, it's almost here. We're less than 48 hours away from the next season. Best Night Ever League. That is your draft recap with myself and Cam. I'm so excited. I'm so ready. The countdown has already started, and I'm just ready to get into it. Any last thoughts, Cam? Are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go. I hate that I have to play Connor first, because my team always starts out shitty. But I'm ready. Let's get the season started, and I'm looking forward to watching some games.
All right, let's do it. Good night, everyone.
Night, folks.